everyone, welcome to TriRide. This is Pack 365, myself Srija. Today, you are going to learn about the anatomy and physiology of the musculoskeletal system. So, in this session, you will be learning about the structure of bones and their classification. So, first of all, let's see about what is musculoskeletal system. So, what is musculoskeletal system? It's a part of our body that gives us shape and also it helps us to move. So it is like the body's framework or the structure. So how musculoskeletal system is made up of? It is made up of bones, muscles, joints, cartilage, ligaments, tendons and other connective tissues. So what are bones? These are the hard parts that make our skeleton. Whereas muscles, these are the tissues that help us to move. Joints, these are where it is a place where two bones meet. So cartilage, it's a soft flexible tissue that cushions the joints. So ligaments, these are the strong bands that connect bones to the bones. So tendons are the cords that connect muscles to the bones. So there are also the another connective tissues like these tissues that support and hold everything together. So what these parts do within the musculoskeletal system? So all these structures, they work together to give shape to the body and they also allow us to stand, sit, walk, run and do daily activities. So bones protect most of the important organs. For example, the skull protects the brain and the ribcage protects the heart and lungs. So these muscles pull on bones when they contract, which creates the movement. So joints help the body bend, twist and rotate. Whereas ligaments and tendons, they keep everything stable and they been working smoothly. So at the right side, you can clearly see the skeletal picture of the human body. So this picture shows a labeled skeleton with parts like skull, ribs, spine, arm bones like humerus, radius, ulna, and leg bones like femur, tibia, and fibula, and also joints and some other smaller bones of hands and feet. Now let's discuss about the bones. So how bones are classified into how many types? So our bones come in different shapes because each one has a different job. So there are 5 main types of bones. What are they? Long bones, short bones, flat bones, irregular bones and sesamoid bones. So what do you mean by the long bones? These bones are longer than they are wide. So they help with movement and support. So what are the examples of the long bones? Femur, which is called as a thigh bone. Humerus, which is called as upper arm bone, and radius and ulna, these are the forearm bones. And also the other example is tibia, it's a leg bone. So you have the parts of the long bone. So what are the parts of the long bones? Diaphysis, epiphysis, metaphysis and medullary cavity. So we'll discuss each and every bone into detail in the next slide. So these are the parts of the long bone. Then coming to short bones, these bones are shaped like cubes. So they provide strength and stability with little movement. So what are the examples? Like carpals, tarsals. So carpals are nothing but the wrist bones. Tarsals are nothing but the ankle bones. So next the flat bones. So flat bones, the name itself, they tell us they are flat. So these are thin and flat. They mainly provide protection to the body organs. So examples like skull bone, sternum, the chest bone, ribs and scapula, the shoulder blade. So irregular bones. What are irregular bones? These bones, they have odd or complex shape. They protect the organs and support the body. For example, vertebrae like spine bones and hip bone like pelvis. So the last type of bone is sesamoid bone. So these sesamoid bones, these form inside the tendons. So they help to reduce the friction and they act like pulleys for the muscles. For example, patella, the kneecap. So it is the most common sesamoid bone. So in the right side, you can clearly see the picture of the classification of bones by shape. The flat bone, skull, short bone, this is the carpal, wrist, and irregular bone, it is a vertebra, and long bone, it's a femur. Sesamoid bone, it's a patella, and also you can see the sutural bone. So coming to long bone. So long bones, these are the bones that are longer than they are wide. For example, femur, humerus, tibia and radius. So what does they do? They act like levers. They're helping the body to move and also they also support the body weight. So what is the structure of a typical long bone? So This typical long bone, it consists of three structures. The diaphysis, which is also called as the shaft, and epiphysis, these are the ends, and also the metaphysis. So what is diaphysis? You can clearly see in the picture of the bone at the right side. This is the metaphysis, this is the diaphysis, and this is the epiphysis. So diaphysis, it is a long middle part of the bone. So this is cylindrical in shape, right? You can clearly see in the picture, this is a cylindrical in shape. So this is made up of thick compact bone which makes it strong. So this also, it provides strength and support. Inside it, it has a long hollow space called as medullary cavity. You can clearly see here in the picture, you can find the medullary cavity. This is a hollow space inside the diaphysis. So this cavity, it also contains this yellow bone marrow, which you can see, and this provides strength and support. So inside this, it stores the fat. This diaphysis, it stores the fat inside the yellow bone marrow. So next, coming to epiphysis, these are the end of the long bone. So these are the rounded ends of the bone, which is present at the top and also the bottom. So they contain the spongy bone, which is also called as cancellous bone. So this spongy bone, it has a red bone marrow. Diaphysis, you have a yellow bone marrow, whereas epiphysis, you have a red bone marrow. So this helps to make the blood cells. So these ends are covered with the articular cartilage. So this cartilage, it helps bones to form the joints. It also reduces the friction between the bones. It absorbs shock when you walk, run, or jump. So these ends, they are covered with the articular cartilage. So from the picture, here it is the metaphysis. This is the area where the diaphysis and epiphysis meet, and this is the epiphyseal line. So where bone growth happens during the childhood, and you can also see the peristorium over here. This peristorium, it is the outer covering of the bone, and endosteum is the inner lining of the bone, the lining inside the medullary cavity, and also the compact bone, it is a strong outer layer, whereas spongy bone, it's a lighter porous bone at both the ends. So this is about the diaphysis and epiphysis. So next, coming to metaphysis. So what is metaphysis? It's a region between the diaphysis shaft and the epiphysis ends of a long bone. So this contains the growth plate in the children. So this is where the bone grows in length. So in adults, the growth plate becomes the epiphyseal line because bone growth stops. So what are the examples of the long bones? They may be upper limb. Upper limb consists of humerus, radius, ulna, metacarpals, and phalanges. And the other example is lower limb. So this lower limb, it consists of femur, the longest bone of the body, tibia, fibula, metatarsals, and also the phalanges. You can clearly see the picture over the right side. The scapula, humerus, radius, ulna, both the upper limb and lower limb pictures are these. And then what are the functions of the long bones? So what do they function? Support. They provide support, means they form the main framework of the arms and legs, so helping the body to stay upright. It also helps in the movement. Nothing but these long bones, they act as the levers for muscles. So these muscles pull them to help us to walk, run, lift, and move. Coming to protection function. So some long bones, they protect the important structures. For example, humerus helps to protect the nerves and also blood vessels in the arm. And the other function is blood cell formation. So the red bone marrow, which is found in epiphysis, this makes the red blood cells, white blood cells, and also the platelets. And next, mineral storage. So what does this store? So these long bones, they can store the calcium and phosphate, so which helps to keep the bones hard and strong. So next, fat storage. This yellow marrow in the diaphysis, they stores the fat, which can be used as the energy. So this is about the long bone and functions of the long bone. So next, coming to the short bones. So what are short bones? Why they are called as short bones? So these are one of the main types of bones in the body. So they are small cube-shaped bones that provide strength and support, but they allow a very little movement. So where do we find the short bones? In the wrist, like carpals, and also in the ankles, like tarsals. So their shape makes them great for weight bearing and also shock absorption. For example, when you walk, run, or jump. So what are the characteristics of the short bone? Shape. Coming to shape, the short bones are almost equal in length, width, and also thickness. So they give us like a cube-like shape structure. So what are the layers of the short bone? As we have layers of the long bone, we also have the layers of the short bone. So this short bone, it has two main layers. What are they? External structure and internal structure. So coming to external structure, the outer layer is made up of the compact bone, which makes the bone strong. The surfaces that form joints are covered with the articular cartilage. So this helps to reduce the friction. Next, coming to the internal structure, the inside is made up of spongy bone. So what does this spongy bone do? The spongy bone has a network of thin plates called as trabeculae. You can clearly see in the picture, this spongy bone has a network over here, trabeculae. So these are arranged in a way that helps the bone withstand pressure and compression. So the spaces between trabeculae are filled with red bone marrow. So this helps in blood cell formation like RBCs, WBCs, and platelets. You can clearly see a picture. This is a short bone and the outer layer compact bone, the inner layer spongy bone, and short bones are found in the wrist, for example, carpals. So what are the examples and features of the short bones? So short bones, these are found mainly in the wrist and ankles. So here are some important examples. Scaphoid. So what is scaphoid? It's a carpal bone. So this is mostly commonly broken. So it is a fractured short bone. So this is located near the base of the thumb. So what does it do? It plays a major role in wrist stability. Nothing but it helps to keep the wrist steady during the movements. And next, calcaneus. So calcaneus is nothing, it is a tarsal bone. So this is the largest short bone in the body. So this bone, it forms the heel. Like it is a key weight bearing bone. It also supports your body weight too. When you stand, when you walk or run, it supports your body weight so that you can easily do the activities. So the next one, talus. Talus is also a tarsal bone. So this forms the ankle joint by connecting with the tibia and also the fibula. It is very much important because it transmits your entire body weight down to the foot. So this makes the talus essential for balance and also the standing. So these are the examples and features of the short bone. So what are the functions of the short bones? So short bones, they helps the body in several ways. Like they provide the stability, allow controlled movements, absorb shock, and also bear the weight. So what does they provide stability? How does they provide stability? So they help to stabilize the wrist and ankle. Whereas coming to allow controlled movements, they allow small precise movements, not large movements like long bones do. Remember that always long bones, they allow the small precise movements, whereas short bones, they always allow the small precise movements. So they also absorb the shock. Like they help to absorb the impact when you walk, jump, or run. So acting like a shock absorbers. So next, bear weight. So especially in the ankle region, these short bones carry a lot of body weight. So this is about the short bones. So next, coming to flat bones, we have discussed about the long bones, short bones, and now coming to flat bones. So what are flat bones? These are thin, flat, and often slightly covered bones. So what is their main job? To protect important organs and provide the large surfaces for muscles to attach. So what are the examples of the flat bones? Skull bones, sternum, ribs, scapula, and also the hip bone. So what are the special features of the flat bones? So flat bones, these are different from long bones because they do not have a long shaft, like there is no diaphysis. They do not have a medullary cavity, that is no hollow center. So this is why it has a special feature of the flat bone. So what is the structure of the flat bone? Flat bones, they have a special arrangement called a sandwich structure. Sandwich, you can clearly see in the picture. It resembles a sandwich, right? Yeah. So it have a special arrangement called as a sandwich structure. So it has two layers. The outer layer, it is a compact bone, and the inner layer is spongy bone, the inner side. So the compact bone is strong and protective, and this These surfaces are smooth and strong, making them good for protection. So the entire bone is covered by a thin outer covering called as periosteum. Periosteum. So you can clearly see in the picture over here. It is a periosteum. So what is the internal structure? The middle layer is a spongy bone which is called as diploe, pronounced diploe. So this spongy bone, it helps to absorb shock and may contain the red bone marrow which forms the blood cells. So this diploe, so what do you mean by diploe? It's a middle spongy layer of the flat bone. So what does it contain? It contains the red bone marrow. So this red bone marrow, it is much important because it performs the hematopoiesis, which means the formation of the blood cells like RBCs, WBCs and platelets. So inside the diploe, there are trabeculae, the tiny supportive beams. So this trabeculae, they help to absorb the shock and protect the organs lying the underneath, like the brain, heart and lungs. So what are the location of the flat bones? So these flat bones, they are present wherever the body needs strong protection or wide surfaces for the muscle attachment. For example, coming to skull, this skull, it contains the cranial bones, right? So this protects the brain. So this skull, it includes frontal bone, parietal, occipital, temporal, sphenoid and ethmoid bones. So you can clearly see all type of bones in this picture. And this is the skull cranial bones, right? When coming to facial bones, which are partly flat. So this gives shape to the face. That is nothing but nasal bone and also the lacrimal bone and the vomer. Here you can clearly see nasal bone, lacrimal bone and vomer bone. So next, thoracic cage. So what do you mean by thoracic cage? This helps to protect the heart and lungs. Ribs, these are the costal bones. So these are the thin curved flat bones forming the rib cage. So what is sternum? So this sternum, it includes the manubrium, body and xiphoid processes. So next, coming to shoulder girdle. Shoulder girdle. So scapula, which is a shoulder blade, it is a large flat bone for muscle attachment. And whereas pelvis, it is very flat actually. So ilium, it is a wide flat part of the hip bone. So what are the functions of the flat bones? So flat bones, they perform several important functions. So what is it? The first one is protection. So how does it protect? Through skull, it protects the brain. Through ribs, it protects the heart and lungs. Through scapula, it protects the shoulder region. So next, coming to muscle attachment. So it is a wide flat surfaces allowing many muscles to attach. Blood cell formation. Red bone marrow in diploe, it forms the blood cells. And coming to shape and structure support, this helps to maintain the contour of the head, thorax and pelvis. So this is about the flat bones. So flat bones, they always protect the delicate internal organs because they are strong and slightly curved. Okay. So this is about the functions of the short bone. Next, coming to examples and key features of the short bone. So examples and key features. Scapula, it is a flat triangular bone. So this has a glenoid cavity for where the shoulder joint forms. So what does this scapula do? It provides attachment for many shoulder muscles such as deltoid, trapezius, rotator cuff muscles, etc. So next is sternum. So this sternum is a central bone of the chest. So this protects the heart, major blood vessels and also part of the lungs. So this ribs attached to the via costal cartilages. So this helps to form the thoracic cage. So next, coming to ribs. So ribs, these are 12 pairs of the curved flat bones. So this form the rib cage which protects the thoracic organs. So they help in breathing. They move up and down during inhalation and also the exhalation. So next, coming to next example, parietal bone. So what is it? It is present in the skull. So this forms the sides and roof of the skull. So it is strong and curved to absorb the shock and protect the brain. So this is all about the short bones. So this is about the short bones. So in the next video, you will be learning about to know about the irregular bones. That is a continuation of the flat bones. So, and also in the next video, you will be learning about the appendicular skeleton and the axial skeleton and also the type of joints. Thank you.